Hello boys and girls, welcome to the Math Club. In this video, we're going to talk about solving quadratic equations using factorizing. Now, before we talked about factorizing and how to factorize quadratic equations. Today we're going to use factorizing to solve these equations. Now, let's take a look at this quadratic equation here. Now, with this equation here, as you can see, we can solve it using factorizing. And to solve quadratic equations, we have to make them equal to 0. So we're going to take all the elements of the equation to one side and make the other side a 0. Now, we have here 20 or positive 20. We're going to take it to the other side and we're going to change the sign. So it's going to be what? Very good. Negative 20. Now, let's write the equation here. We have x squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. Now, with equals 0 here, we're going to solve the equation using this idea. Before solving the equation, we have to factorize this expression alone. After that, we're going to solve it and make it equal to 0 and find the values of x. To solve or to factorize this expression, as we said before, if we have three elements, one of them is squared, or the first one is squared, the other one is not, and the other one doesn't have a variable. So we're going to use what? Very good. The double bracket method. So we're going to put double brackets here. And then the x squared is going to be what? Very good. X times x. Because x squared is x times x. Now, we are looking for two numbers here that when you multiply them by each other, they will give you 20. And when you add them to each other, they will give you, very good, positive 1. And why did we say positive 1? Because the variable x here doesn't have a number next to it. So the coefficient of this variable is positive 1 or negative 1 depending on the sign. Good. Now, let's take a look at these numbers first. To solve them, let's take the 20 and decompose it to its factors. We're going to take the 20 here, and then we will talk about the signs. We're going to take the 20 first, decompose it to its factors. So we're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then write the multiplying sign. And then 20 is 1 times what? Very good, 20. And 2 times what? Good job, 10. And 3 times what? Very good. We can't use 3 with it. And 4 times? Good job, it's 5. And because we are repeating 5 again, we're not going to use it again. So we stop here and take a look at the factors and check which one has or which ones have a difference of 1 between them. Now, let's take a look at the first factors. We have 1 and 20. Is the difference between them 1? No, it's not. Very good. So we don't use them. Very good. Now, the next ones are 2 and 10. The difference between them is 8. It's not 1. So we can't use them. Very good. Take a look at the 4 and the 5 here. The difference between them is 1. Very good. So we're going to use the 4 and 5. So we have two numbers, which is 4 here and 5. Now we're going to talk about the sign. And how do we put the signs of these numbers? We take a look at the sign here, negative. Now, the negative sign came out of what? Of multiplying the numbers. So when do you get a negative sign by multiplying? Is it when you have the same signs or different signs? Very good. When you multiply different signs, very good. So if you have a positive and a negative number, when you multiply them, you will get what? Very good. You'll get a negative answer. Same idea if you have a negative and a positive. So when you multiply them, you'll get a negative answer. So the idea of multiplying signs, if you have different signs, it means the answer will be negative. It means what? It means that we have negative or different signs here because the answer is negative. So we have different signs. But to know which one is positive, which one is negative, what do? we take a look at this number here. It's positive 1. So what does that mean? It means when you add them up together, you'll have a positive 1. So it means what? Because different signs, we're going to subtract, and we're going to take the sign of the biggest number. So which number here is the biggest one? Very good, it's 5. So 5 is bigger than 4. So we're going to take the sign of the 5 and put it next to the 1. It means that the 5 is positive and the 4 is negative. And this is how we factorize quadratic equations. Now, we finished the step of factorizing. Now we want to solve the quadratic equation. How do we solve it? As we said, we're going to make it equal to 0. So we equal it to 0. After equaling this to 0, there are two methods of solving an equation like this. We have a fast method in which we say what's the opposite of this and we solve it, and we have the more detailed method. Now most questions will ask you for the detailed one, but I will show you the fast method now just to make sure that your answer is correct. Now if you take a look at the first bracket here, we have x minus 4. We need a 0 here. To make this a 0, x will be the opposite of the negative 4. What is the opposite of the negative 4? Good job, it's positive 4. So x is going to be positive 4. What about this one? Same idea. X is going to be the opposite of positive 5. So it's going to be negative 5. Good. Now, let's do the detailed one here. We're going to do the detailed method here just to check, okay? Now, the detailed method says what? It says take the whole bracket and put it here and make it equal to 0. So it's going to be x minus 4 equal 0. Now, we're going to take the negative 4 to the other side. And let's make a line here, okay? It's going to be what? Very good, positive 4. So x equals positive 4, and the same answer that gave me with the short method. Very good. Now we're going to do the same for the other bracket. So x plus 5 equals 0. Now we're going to take the 5 to the other side, and we're going to change the sign. Remember that. So x equals what? Very good, negative 5. And it's the same idea that I got with the fast method. And this is how you answer a question like this. First, you factorize these quadratic equations or expressions, and then you find the values of x that make this expression or equation equal to 0. And remember, guys, you have to do the decomposing method. You have to decompose the number to its factors to find the numbers that solve this riddle or solve this game. And this is how you answer questions like this. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.